Professional wrestling is the one true sport. Other sports have their share of intense, dramatic moments, but nothing can compare with professional wrestling. Welcome to Wrestling History X, where three friends come together to talk about the stories behind the matches. I'm Matt.
I'm the second of third in our triple main event tonight.
And I am from Shaton, Ohio.
Welcome to episode 291, Sold Out 1998.
Hell hath no fury like WCW Sold Out.
First fight, 98.
Who do you trust?
WCW lately.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
3 main events, 3 taglines.
Yeah.
Can we just get one good show?
How about one good show, Matt? For real.
They've shown us they can give us at least one good match on horrible shows, but come on. I need the juice.
Some
I need
consistency.
more. I need something. I need good consistency, not just keep giving us a bunch of shit consistency. Come on.
Yeah, I mean,
83.
we can say what we want about WWF, but their shows we're higher on and lower on, but it is consistent. Like, we're never like, dang, that sucked and didn't make any sense.
I mean,
we're like, hey, we didn't love that. But
literally, the last WCW show I named my least favorite show of all time.
Yep.
You put it over
Hell hath no
Bunkhouse.
fury
Exactly.
like.
That's crazy. If you've listened to this show, Bunkhouse Stampede is been brought up many a
Bunkhouse
time.
Stampede held that
Bottom
bottom spot, whatever
spot.
the hell. Bottom of the top.
For legitimately like 2 decades of time that the show's covered, and a couple of years of us covering shows.
Yeah. So this is the second annual Sold Out, produced by WCW and the NWO. It took place on January 24th, 1998, from the Hara Arena in Dayton, Ohio, with an attendance of 5,486 people.
You can't hear it, but I'm pulling at my collar.
It's quite the royal drop from the Rumble.
And also, WCW's been putting up really great houses.
Yeah.
But maybe these people in Dayton, Ohio sold out last year and said, you know what?
Maybe these people bought
Starcade.
and like, yeah, what was the last show?
yeah. Like, yeah, I think I'm good.
Yeah, fool me once.
Also, they learned that they'll get most of the show in video package on television.
Tune in tomorrow for the replay.
Not just stills. We're going to give you full motion video of things that actually mattered from the show.
Yeah.
But we are in Dayton, Ohio.
Yeah, we are.
So Shane, did you do what you do?
Yes, I did. Yes. Did what I do, where I hop on the old internet and say, what the fuck do people in Ohio or Dayton or whatever like to eat, drink? And what popped up was, well, I can't find exactly where it was, but what it said was, Ohio is the hard seltzer capital of the world.
Oh my gosh.
More, at least in 2023, more hard seltzer was drank in Ohio than anywhere else in the world.
That's wild.
Don't know what exactly it was, but
White bitch summer?
I guess so.
I don't know. Sorry to be so wrong.
But yeah, hard seltzer is what I brought today. It's a WCW show, so I figured WC, White Claw, plus White Claw is also the most popular of the hard seltzers, at least in 2023. You have Truly that's now rising up the bubbly hard seltzer ranks, yes. I bought a little variety pack here. This one is I guess you can call it the Smash Pack. You have the Watermelon Lime Smash, the Wildberry Acai Smash. We have the Citrus Yuzu Smash, and then the one that we just cracked open here, the Tropical Pomelo Smash.
Is that the one I'm drinking now?
Yes.
Yeah.
I
It kind of tastes like the last one.
What the hell is
pomelo? It kind of tastes like you put Smarties in a
pomelo.
It's
a large citrus fruit that is native to Southeast Asia.
It's an ancestor to grapefruit.
Yes.
Okay, so it is
Chinese grapefruit or Bali lemon. I haven't even taken a sip of this one yet. We originally cracked open the watermelon lime smash, and
it tastes like thinking about a watermelon, not Jawbreaker. What are those called? Jolly Rancher. It's like if you thought about one.
See, the watermelon Jolly Rancher, I think I like more than this watermelon lime smash one.
That's the only watermelon thing that I think I do like.
Yeah,
is a watermelon Jolly Rancher.
Watermelon.
Outside of actual watermelon. Yeah.
But yeah, let's see. Tropical Pomelo Smash. We're gonna get smashed on this little fucking show, aren't we today?
Something's got to happen.
White Claw wasted. WCW.
Yeah. White girl wasted.
All right, so Tropical Pomelo Smash. I like it better than the watermelon lime smash. It's at least citrusy, more citrusy than what that one was. That watermelon and lime flavor they didn't go well for me on that one.
And watermelon and lime normally work together very well.
Mm-hmm. I had a watermelon salad for lunch this afternoon.
Yeah.
It was delightful.
They all taste like a clearly Canadian
mint lime vinaigrette.
I mean, that's what most seltzers taste like. So.
Yeah, I mean, and I like regular seltzer. I never jumped on the alcohol seltzer train.
I went on the Mike's Hard Lemonade kick when I first
did those as well.
Yeah,
21.
Those are so sugary sweet though. You can feel your teeth hurt.
Citrus yuzu smash.
All right, we'll have to I'll pick our favorites, of course.
Yep.
I have two in my mind at the moment as I sip on citrus Yuzuna.
Well, taking a sip of water afterwards, it made the water taste sweet. That's wicked. It enhanced the flavor of my water.
Well, I definitely have a favorite now.
I will say it sticks to your tongue quite a bit.
I'm curious, is this wild berry one the favorite, or do you have a clear shot loser now? See, I made the mistake of not actually pouring tasters. I was pouring half a glass full, so it's taking me longer to get through these.
Yeah, you guys were pouring half a glass, and I'm like, let's do a shot of these things.
They're not high. When it said surf on it, I was like, is that their version of high alcohol White Claw? But I think it's just normal alcohol.
No, it's literally 10%.
5%.
No, it's not.
Or not 10%.
That would be crazy. Yeah.
It says 5% volume.
Okay, yeah, that's normal. It's not because sometimes they'll give you a silly name, like the Natural Light. They have a thing called Natty Daddy, and it's just 8% Natural Light.
Have you ever had the Natter Days?
The ones that are the pink.
Yeah, it's like strawberry lemonade.
Yeah, they're kind of good. They shouldn't be.
I mean, nothing Natty Light does should be good.
No, it's not good. But that one is it's better than it should.
It doesn't drink like a beer. It just drinks like a strawberry lime or lemonade.
Yeah,
with bubbles.
Yeah, and it's not as gross as you think, but you shouldn't get drunk on it.
Yeah.
But what's the point of what's the point of drinking a Natty Light if you're not going to get drunk?
I mean, yeah, you just shouldn't buy it, but it would be good for one of our wrestling shows.
Okay, yeah. I have decided my order, I believe.
Well, Shane, crack the claw.
All right. At the bottom spot, we've got watermelon lime smash.
Okay.
Number 3 would be the citrus yuzu smash.
All right.
Number 2 would be the tropical pomelo smash. And then number 1 for me is the wild berry acai smash.
Switches 3 and 4. I like the watermelon better than the yuzu.
Okay, cool. I'm going to go... Normally, I'm all about lemon-flavored stuff, but the yuzu is dead last for me. And then I will be going watermelon lime as my 3, wild berry 2, and then the pomelo as 1. But they're pretty close, the wild berry and the pomelo. But the watermelon and the citrus one, you would think would be better than they are.
I took one drink of the wild berry and I went, man, I hope you guys love this thing because it's so good.
Yeah. The citrus, the lemon one should be my favorite, but it did not work for me.
All right, and just because...
Just to make sure.
We got to try all of them together.
Oh, suicide.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know if there's enough in
Suicide Smash.
I don't know if there's enough in
I think I already had the berry. What's that last one?
That's the pomelo.
All right.
There's a little berry for you.
Suicide. I mean, we're about to walk into a suicide. And it's sold out with 5,486 people there.
I think that's
Citrus?
Yeah, citrus.
Give it a swirl. These aren't equal parts. We don't have shot glasses out.
Clinky clink.
Yeah.
I still have less than you guys.
Hey, it's tradition.
New number one. All four at the same time.
Yeah, all of them together do actually kind of work.
It does. It really does. It's kind of like a mouthful of Skittles. Or like, this works.
Pop a Jolly Rancher in there, like the old Zima days, and just enhance the flavor. Throw a little sour apple in there or something. Oh, yeah, that'd be good. All right, so yeah, White Claw. You just heard our first little hard seltzer tasting, so welcome to Sold Out.
Yeah.
Hell hath no fury, like 4 cans of White Claw and 3 open mics. So
yeah.
I mean,
let's see what happens.
Hope you trust us drinking these things while we talk about the rest of the show.
Yep.
Something that would happen right around the same time as Sold Out, though. Dixie Chicks' 4th album, but their first, with new lead vocalist Natalie Raines. Wide Open Spaces would be released the following week.
I think that's a pretty decent radio tune, but I cannot speak to the Dixie Chicks personally. So, Shane, Matt?
I mean, this album is probably one of my favorite albums.
Really?
From growing up, yeah.
This is what caught the world by storm. Before they became this polarizing musical group for political purposes, they were just a trio that were putting out some incredible music. I Can Love You Better, Wide Open Spaces, Loving Arms, There's Your Trouble. Those are just a few of the songs on there.
And Shania has kind of lubed the way for them to have a bigger audience.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. And they didn't make the full...
They didn't go
jump
as
over
pop,
yeah.
but their songs had hooks.
Yeah, they had very, just to use the album title as a description, they had a very wide open space as far as their audience, because they hit the pop side, they hit the country side, they stayed definitely more country. That's where you listen to them. You know, they weren't playing it on your typical pop stations.
No,
you know, maybe in your bigger cities or something.
But boy, did it play big on VH1 Top 10.
Mm-hmm. Natalie's voice is incredible. She has such a bluesy voice, and to match that up with the country tones and bluegrass tones that they were going with. Yeah, they hit all elements. Yeah, they ripped in, or reached in, grabbed your heart, ripped it out, and showed it to you as they, sat there with their little fiddles and.
Yeah, I mean they were
and played along.
Unavoidable, and I don't mean that in a negative way, but it's just one of those things. Like as a kid, I had zero interest in country music, so like I was just like, oh, country music's lame. As I got older, of course, I don't feel that same way now. But this era of country music is not the thing that changed my mind, and I have not gone back to. Yeah, this album I listened to many, many times. I bought it shortly after it debuted. The Dixie Chicks, they were hitting the charts around the same time that there were a couple other new country girls bands that were out there. You had the Kinleys. You had Shadazy, I think was the other one. And
Shadazy has one of my favorite Christmas songs.
Oh yeah, Matt.
Do they?
King of the Christmas playlist.
They did for Disney. They did a song for the Mickey Mouse Scrooge.
Oh, the Christmas Carol.
Christmas Carol.
Okay, I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, that was very, very good.
But yeah, they
okay, yeah, okay, cool.
They debuted at the same time around as these other two bands, and it was very clear that the Dixie Chicks weren't going anywhere. They were here to stay. This album, I want to say, was nominated for best album of the year. I think it won country album, but then it kicked off where almost every album that they've had has been nominated for or won album of the year. They followed it up with another one that just had banger after banger on it.
Yeah, their first four albums with Natalie, all won best country album.
Wow.
So they found a following, and then unfortunately, after 9/11, things quickly fell apart.
Mm-hmm.
And they came back with an album. That's what won them the album of the year or best album.
They didn't take the boot in your ass.
No,
angle.
they weren't ready to make nice, and they had I don't know if it was just played on VH1 or if VH1 was the one that was behind it, but they did like a music documentary for that specific album. The Wide Open Spaces, though, Dixie Chicks. This album is incredible. It's still on a steady replay on my phone. I think Dixie Chicks are one of the most. I keep saying Dixie Chicks. They are
the Chicks.
The Chicks.
No, they're the Chicks.
Yeah. Which is.
I mean, they're always going to be Dixie Chicks in my heart,
and everyone else's. Yeah.
I mean, it's just like Lady A, like it's Lady A.
It took me a minute.
I understand, and I'm saying that like I understand why they changed their names.
Yeah,
and it was probably the right thing to do, but grew up with them, knowing them as one thing. They're going to be that thing to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's like when Prince was the symbol, the artist formerly known as. He was still Prince.
Yeah.
I'll refer to him as the Chicks, but if I accidentally call them the Dixie Chicks every now and then, people just have to be okay with it.
They will be.
Yeah.
Jack Antonoff produced their 2020 album.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, he's behind a lot of
Did I know that?
big albums, so that makes sense.
Jack Antonoff's a great producer, so makes me definitely want to go listen to it a little bit more.
Yeah, you're like,
than
okay,
I did
we all
3 seconds ago.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I remember doing karaoke back in the day, and I'd do a few different Dixie Chick songs, and everybody's like, do some of the upbeat ones. I'm like, no, but they have some really good fucking ballads. They reach in and just
Wide Open Spaces
milk out all the tears of your heart.
The only one that I can name, and it's a ballad.
I still honk the horn when I cross the state line just because of one of their songs, because that's one of the lyrics.
But yes,
Heartbreak Town.
Even if you're not into country, you should go out there and listen.
If you
take
like
a listen
good
to the Chicks. Wide Open Spaces is a great album. Their second album, Fly, has Goodbye Earl and
I know that song.
Blanking on the other song.
Ready to Run.
Yeah, Ready to Run, which are incredible songs as well. So definitely go out there, check them out.
Yep.
Let's talk some Sold Out. Eric Bischoff stands in a mansion while the wind blows through a window, while the words of Nick Lambros are heard. WCW is requiring Kevin Nash or the NWO to post a $1.5 million performance bond for the Nash Giant match, before cutting to Eric, saying he's building the greatest empire. The words of the Giant are then heard, saying he can't touch Kevin or he'd have to forfeit the match and the money. Back to Bischoff's to say he's looking for more souls to buy, followed by Hell hath no fury like Sold Out. Tony welcomes everyone to the show, joined by Dusty Rhodes and Bobby the Brain Heenan, where they preview the matches and a major announcement, until a hand in the corner tells them to wrap it up.
I saw that too.
Eric Bischoff, he's basically looks like he's in Dracula's castle. It's like, I'm waiting for more souls to buy. It's like, this is not Halloween Havoc. What are you doing?
But we go to our first match. Juventud Guerrera, Super Calo, Lizmark Jr., and Chavo Guerrero Jr. versus La Parka, Silver King, Psychosis, and El Dandy.
And my eyes are rolling.
So Mike Tenay joins the commentary booth for this one.
While
Calo and Psychosis start, with Super Calo sending him to the floor with an arm drag. But he returns with chops and an elbow drop, only for Calo to flip off Psychosis' chest and nail a power slam, followed by a tilt-a-whirl slam. Silver King and Lizmark comes with Junior missing a drop kick, so King takes control with clotheslines, kicks, and chops, only for Lizmark to avoid a drop kick to deliver a tilt-a-whirl backbreaker for a 2 count. And Junior telegraphs a back body drop, allowing Silver King to drop him with a DDT, before Chavo and Dandy make their way in to trade drop kicks, monkey flips, and head scissors, followed by slaps, chops, a back body drop, and a hip toss that sends both men tumbling to the floor.
They may be Mexican, but they are not midgets. There was a hip toss.
And since this is Lucha Rules, Juvi and Parka take over, where they both hit baseball slides to their opponents on the floor before fighting on the apron, allowing Guerrero to nail a springboard crossbody back into the ring, only for La Parka to catch him and do some strutting, and then puts him down for Juvi to go for a tilt-a-whirl that does nothing, so Guerrero delivers a spinning heel kick and mounted punches, followed by leaping off the top with a Dragon Rana to send La Parka to the floor.
They've already done every move. What is the rest of the show going to be?
Juvi gets a running start to leap out, but Psychosis comes into the ring to land a clothesline, which leads to Lizmark coming in to hit a clothesline and a quabrata on Psychosis. Arm drag and a crucifix pin by Junior, but Dandy breaks it up and goes for a La Magistral, only for Calo to break it up and hit a splash in a corner, followed by a head scissors off the top, which King breaks up. Super Calo is then hit with a spinning heel kick, a spinning powerbomb, and a somersault leg drop, making a cover, only for Juvi to break it up, followed by botching a spinning victory roll, so Silver King gets a 2 count. And Guerrero is set on the top, but he fights his way free, knocking King down to the mat and allowing him to nail a 450 splash, only for La Parka to stop the count and deliver a sit-out powerbomb for a near fall. Chavo and Psychosis then jump in the ring with Guerrero being taken down by a sit-out front suplex, followed by a Psychosis coming off the top with a leg drop for a 2 count, as Calo makes the save. Chavo is then tossed to the floor by La Parka. Calo's drop kicked out by King, but he avoids a springboard plancha, allowing him to go to the top to fly off with a somersault senton onto Silver King. Dandy then leaps over the ropes with a tope con hilo onto Super Calo, followed by Guerrero jumping off the back of Chavo for Air Juvi out onto the floor and onto El Dandy. Parka continues with a springboard corkscrew moonsault from the apron. Lizmark follows with an Asai moonsault onto everybody, leaving Chavo and Psychosis in the ring, where Guerrero lands a flying crossbody and a corner splash. But a reversed whip allows Psychosis to attempt a corner splash of his own, only for Chavo to avoid and nail a tornado DDT for the pin and the win.
Go Chavo.
Post-match, Guerrero's team starts celebrating when Parka comes in to give everybody chair shots,
including his own teammates.
Even attacking his own team. La Parka then dances on top of the chair before strutting his way out of the ring.
Chairman of the board, ladies and gentlemen.
I thought that was Carrot Top.
Maybe in that one movie.
It was around that same time, I think, too.
Tony then plugs Boston Brawl, an internet exclusive pay-per-listen.
Oh, it's only audio. I was like, how are they doing video? It's like, that must be a QuickTime that looks like 4 pixels fucking farting. It's only $7.95, I believe.
Oh, why do I think they're still going to fuck it up somehow?
Because 4 people will buy it. Dave Meltzer and who else?
This ain't no tea party, as an ad shows important dates in Boston history. Mean Gene Okerlund's then in the entranceway, and he mentions the Pope and Bill Clinton to sound relevant, before plugging the hotline.
Cool.
Saying he saw prominent names backstage. Plus, you can get the results on option 2. Call tonight.
Who's prominent names? Is it Tom Brady?
No, probably not.
New gimmick? Prominent names?
Z-Man.
He is a prominent name. He's Tom Zinka.
Neidhart.
Oh.
Bulldog.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Brian Adams.
We're teasing.
So we go to our second match. Raven with the Flock versus the Crippler, Chris Benoit, in a Ravens rules match.
Boo.
Fucking Ravens rules.
Hey, but at least all 5,000 people in Dayton, Ohio know that Raven sucks, and they let him know.
Yep.
The announcers mentioned that Perry Saturn isn't with the flock when Dave Pinzer announces a ruling from officials that Raven must wrestle, and the flock is barred from ringside.
Not so Raven-y rules.
Let's hope.
Everybody seems angry, except Raven, who's stoic in a corner.
Expressionless.
Followed by taking the mic to say society is trying to make him conform again. He's been left alone before for weeks at a time, having no friends in school, but he needs no one and doesn't fear Benoit's pain. He will feast on it. Quote the Raven, nevermore.
Yeah, he's too busy listening to Typo Negative and playing Castlevania.
I want to be left alone before weeks at a time. Quote the shaven. My White Claws no more.
Dusty chimes in with, quote this Raven, get the flock out of here.
Dusty.
Get him, Dusty.
As the Crippler makes his way out, only to get drop-kicked as he reaches the apron. Raven whips Benoit into the ring steps and guardrail before rolling his opponent into the ring for snapmares and strikes. The Crippler answers with a backslide for a 2 count, followed by a roll-up for a near fall, when Raven tosses Benoit back outside to use a chair. Raven brings that chair into the ring, setting it up to deliver a bulldog of the Crippler onto it before trying it again, only for Benoit to reverse the whip and drop toe hold Raven into the steel.
I mean, the man's finish is a diving headbutt a lot of the time, so, he can probably take it.
The Crippler with a clothesline and a snap suplex onto the chair for a 2 count. He rips Raven's shirt off and exposes the chest for hard chops, but Raven rolls to the floor to regroup.
It's the first time Raven's had his shirt off under the name Raven and not Scotty Flamenco.
Benoit with a baseball slide and tosses his opponent into the steel steps, followed by a snap suplex on the rampway. And they make their way back inside, where the Crippler uses the chair several times, including placing it over Raven's face, stomping on it, before coming off the top with a diving headbutt onto it as well.
And we're getting Benoit chants, guys, because nobody likes Raven.
Nope.
Benoit recovers to make a cover to get a near fall, but then struggles to stand. So Raven counters a suplex attempt into an even flow DDT, only be 2 out of it to make a cover as well. Raven finally crawls over for a 2 count, followed by going for another DDT, but the Crippler counters it into a crossface, only for Raven to just laugh as he passes out, leaving the ref to drop his arm 3 times and call for the bell.
Yeah.
Raven is just like, he basically wants to be the Joker, but he has no charisma.
And no face paint.
Well, yeah, that too.
Post-match, Benoit won't release the hold, so Kidman comes running down to the ring, going to the top, only for Dean Malenko to make the save by pushing the flock member off to the mat and locking in the Texas Cloverleaf.
My dude.
The rest of the flock arrives with the Crippler and Dean fighting them off as Hammer carries Raven to the back.
Raven's looking basically like he's dead.
Yeah, just a little. He's
stiff-bodied and all.
Damsel in distress.
The flock's finally cleared out of the ring, leaving Malenko and Benoit to stand face to face, giving each other a look of respect.
Love to see it.
So we go to our third match. Chris Jericho versus Rey Mysterio Jr. for the WCW Cruiserweight Championship. And the story behind this match was that Rey had defeated Juventud Guerrera for the belt since we last saw it, while Jericho had won a number 1 contenders match. Chris would have a match with Juvi as well, refusing to release the Lion Tamer. So Mysterio came to the former champ's rescue, infuriating an already unstable Jericho. He would then attack Rey multiple times, injuring his knee.
Hence, the knee brace.
So Tenay joins commentary for this match, as Chris is bothered by a Jericho sucks chant that is happening. So he gets in Mysterio's face and mocks his height and shoving Rey into a corner.
And Jericho walks out wearing a Rey Mysterio t-shirt as well. He's really digging it.
The two would trade strikes and clotheslines until Mysterio slides under Chris to the apron. Rey would then leap back in with a springboard head scissors that sends Jericho to the floor. Goes for the fake out, only for his knee to buckle.
At 619 tees, and then, you gotta sell that bad knee.
Chris tries to sneak back in and attack, but Mysterio kicks him away and begins to wear down Jericho with a chin lock that gives him time to recover. Only for Jericho to get to his feet, so Rey counters into a victory roll for a 2 count. Mysterio with a hair slam and goes for a hurricanrana, but Jericho reverses it into a hot shot across the ropes, followed by Chris nailing an underhook backbreaker and vaulting off the ring steps into a jumping knee. Now back in the ring, Jericho continues the punishment with knees to the back, ramming Rey's knee into the turnbuckle and chops, when Chris telegraphs a back body drop, allowing Mysterio to jump onto the shoulders for another victory roll, but he falls off, but does deliver an unprettier instead.
And Jericho, you should really be focusing on that knee more.
Rey whips Jericho for a Flair flip to the apron, a baseball slide to knock him down to the floor, followed by a springboard somersault plancha. But it hurts Mysterio's knee as well. Rey then catches a charging Chris with a hot shot onto a steel step, before they return to the ring, where Jericho crashes onto the ropes as Mysterio goes for his springboard, sending him crashing to the mat. Chris then front suplexes Rey onto the ropes, followed by going to the top, only for Mysterio to yank him off, leaving Jericho hung up in the ropes. And they both make their way back to the top to fight, where Rey goes for a super Frankensteiner. But Jericho blocks and reverses it into a lion tamer for the submission. And the win.
It's so nasty.
And no!
The lion tamer to the mat. It's like so gnarly, and Rey taps immediately, as he should, because we watched a lot of wrestling, and how often does it look like we see Shawn Michaels fall into a casket? It's like, yeah, that obviously hurt, but for this lion tamer, I'm like, no, you're gonna break his neck. He has to tap out.
Post-match, Chris begins celebrating, wanting the ref to raise his hand when he hears the crowd's reaction. So he grabs a mic, calling this the greatest moment of his life, and has realized something. They really, really like me.
It's a bit much.
He went Sally Field with it.
Yeah.
The crowd gets even louder with their boos, so Jericho's mood changes, telling them not to boo him. But they continue, with Chris saying he will give them a reason to boo, and begins to stomp away on Mysterio.
Teabag.
I know, this match is good, and it's fun, but this title has spent a good amount of time building up goodwill, and has just lost it by it being hot-shotted from guy to guy. Even though this, I like the match, it's just it means less now. Not because Jericho won it, but because of the quick passing off over the last couple months.
It's going to be a popular trend here for the next couple years, though.
Yeah.
Not just with that belt, but with the other belt.
With all of them?
Jericho continues by ripping the brace off the knee, whipping Rey with it, before throwing him to the floor, where Chris places Mysterio's knee on the ring steps. He grabs an equipment case and whacks the leg with it. Immediately, Jericho feels remorse, saying he's sorry as he walks away, while officials carry Rey to the back.
My bad.
You guys like the spray paint, wipe video transitions? Because I think that they look really bad and clunky.
It's like
the spray paint.
It's like a bad video game.
Yeah. It's like PlayStation, early PlayStation 1.
Yep.
Very funny. What we're talking about is a transition graphic, but it looks like a hand spray painting the screen to like a different camera.
It's like Double Dragon or whatever it was. We go into the next fight scene.
Oh, yeah.
Spray paint.
Yeah.
Mean Gene Okerlund and J.J. Dillon are in the ring then. They discuss the world title controversy.
J.J. Dillon has big gold in his mitts.
They're recapping the events of 1997 and Dillon's decision to hold up the belt. And JJ says he's consulted with someone about what to do next.
Who could it be now?
Roddy Piper. We haven't seen him since Halloween Havoc 97, episode 279. And Piper says he made the Hogan-Sting match, and it was a mess.
Yeah, it was.
And he feels responsible.
He should.
So he'll make decisions tonight, while also accusing Hollywood of making more excuses than Clinton has girlfriends.
Yeah,
no
doubling down.
politics.
And like I said, Monica hasn't showed up. Nobody knows who Jeffrey Epstein is at this point. Yeah, it's about as much goodwill as Clinton's ever going to get.
Or is he goodwill hunting?
Fuck. No, I think he doesn't care anymore. He knew his wife would never win.
Roddy continues that everyone is complaining, followed by inviting Sting, Scott Hall, and Hogan to the ring. And of course, Eric Bischoff tags along. And Piper gives Scott credit for winning World War III.
He's the number one contender.
He is the number one contender. But there's no champion. So Hall has to take a sidestep. Roddy then teases giving Hollywood the belt. Not!
Yeah. I mean, that was funny because it was dumb and bad. Because it was Piper doing it. No one else would be able to make it funny.
It was at least 2 out of those 3 things.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was funny, but it was definitely dumb and bad.
It was only funny because Piper did it.
Piper then announces a rematch with Sting at Super Brawl. Hogan then demands the belt, only for the Stinger to get in his face, while an annoyed Hall leaves the ring in disgust.
Which is actually interesting to see Hall be like, fuck this, because he got fucked. And for Sting to actually, like, you know, fire up outside of a match, because he's been so stoic, for him to, like, get in Hogan's face, it's like, oh, like, yeah, he is pissed.
Eric and Hollywood bail once they realize that Scott doesn't have their back. When Piper says tradition just bit Hogan in the bum, the Hollywood seems more concerned with Hall's attitude.
Piper can say bum.
Mm-hmm.
If J.J. Dillon said bum, it wouldn't be funny. But J.J. Dillon is good enough on the mic to know that he needs to say butt.
So we go to our 4th match. Rick Martel versus Booker T for the WCW World Television Championship.
Hey, it's Rick. We're an hour into the show, by the way. And we just saw a segment that should have been on television.
Yes.
So the story behind this match was that Booker had defeated Disco Inferno the night after Starrcade for the belt.
Woo.
He would defend it over the next month, while Martel had joined WCW, promising to win titles. Booker T had a defense against Perry Saturn, where he almost won by cheating, only for Rick to inform the ref and got the match restarted. Martel would ask for a title opportunity in return for his kindness, but the flock didn't like it much, as they would attack Rick, shoving him through a glass door.
What in the Marty Jannetty happened?
Yeah, I was like, oh, they just threw Rick in here. They didn't really give us much of this information. I would be like on commentary. I was like, well, I guess it's Rick Martel and Booker T. Why not?
I'm all for that, but
I mean, yeah.
Pushed him through a glass door?
Yeah, and he did a weird nice thing and was like, hey.
He's a face. He was helping
his
fellow face out.
But, like, people don't...
But what's up with that?
But what's... we don't get...
Exactly.
We don't get... People don't get... In WCW, you can do the right thing, and it doesn't benefit you. So Rick Martel doing the right thing and it actually benefiting him is bizarre.
Rick Martel is a face. I just don't... I don't understand. I mean, I know he was tag team partners with Tito Santana back in the day, but he's Martel, and Martel's
20 years ago.
gotta be a heel. That's when we love him the most. I mean, not that I'm
happy to see him.
Yeah, I'm happy to see him, but give me a little arrogance.
He's older. He's just happy to work.
So our competitors trade arm ringers, headlocks, hammerlocks, and arm bars to start.
Looks like a wrestling match.
When Rick gets an O'Connor roll for a 2 count, before going for a suplex, only for Booker to block and reverse into one of his own. Booker T goes to drop an elbow, but Martel avoids, so Booker spin-a-roonies up into a Harlem sidekick for a near fall. Rick fires up with a second rope clothesline, but Booker T responds immediately with a hook kick to go back to wearing down his opponent. And Martel reverses a whip and tries for a leapfrog, only for Booker to collide headfirst with the solar plexus, knocking Rick down to the mat in pain. And Booker T goes to check on Rick, but it was all a trap.
Playing possum.
Nailing Booker with strikes, hard whips, elbow drops, and a gut-wrench suplex for a 2 count.
There's the Rick I know.
And this, I don't think is bad, but the crowd could not care less.
No.
Martel works over the back with a spine buster and axe handles, only for Booker T to answer back with a sunset flip pin attempt for a near fall. And Rick continues to work the back with an ab stretch, but a hip toss allows Booker to escape and deliver a desperation leaping forearm. Martel would then avoid a dropkick and lock in the Quebec crab, only for Booker T to reach out and grab the ropes, forcing the ref to break the hold. But Rick thinks that means he won. Booker uses the opening to nail a scissor kick and a side slam, followed by heading up top to deliver the Harlem Hangover for the pin and the win. Post-match, Booker T celebrates, but Martel grabs the belt away from the ref, only to then hand it to Booker and raise his hand. The two shake hands when Saturn would jump out of the crowd to attack Rick with a suplex and an elbow drop. And Booker T would return to the ring to make the save as Perry calls Martel a stooge as he walks away.
Yeah. I think this was a solid, classic-looking wrestling match. Mm-hmm. But unfortunately, Rick Martel was just kind of a creative player, like, blank at the moment, where it's like, well, wrestling's getting hot at the moment, and how many of these people actually remember Rick Martel? Yeah. But
5 years ago, they could have made him a champion.
Yeah. And I do love that Booker T gives respect to this 80s mid-card legend. Mm-hmm. I think that's nice.
We go to our fifth match. Scott Hall with Louie Spicolli versus Larry Zbyszko.
And Scott Hall is looking glassy-eyed, boys.
A little bit.
Spicolli has been helping Scott attack Larry, even stealing his golf clubs and breaking them. So Zbyszko confronted Louie, beating them down. So just kind of give you a background on why Spicolli's there.
I know Spicolli has had his demons as well. Are him and Scott Hall just thick as thieves?
I'm guessing so.
Friends.
Yeah, all right. It's like they're passing pills.
Yeah, Spicolli does not look much like the young buck that we originally saw him as in ECW anymore. So
no, he's got a shirt on.
He's done some changing over the last year.
Larry had said he wouldn't be alone at the pay-per-view, that he was bringing help. So when he comes out, he points at the announce table with Dusty saying he has some business to take care of.
Baby.
Drops his headset and joins Larry for the match.
Hell yeah.
And Hall taunts Zbyszko, but Larry just answers with takedowns. Until they work each other's arms, followed by a test of strength.
Smart.
When Zbyszko just slaps Scott.
Hell yeah.
And they continue to trade holds, with Larry getting the advantage every time. So Hall begins using a different tactic, distracting the ref while Louie interferes.
I mean, Zbyszko's going to take him to school. He's the stretcher.
So Rhodes starts chasing Spicolli away, allowing our competitors to trade strikes and ram each other into corners before Scott tries his own mat holds, only for Zbyszko to counter into a deathlock. And Hall reaches the ropes to break the hold and begins to fire up with slaps to the head and a fall-away slam, followed by attempting the outsider's edge. But Larry reverses it into a back body drop.
And we're getting Larry chants, and they're pumping me up. But then there's some of these dickheads that are doing Larry sucks chants. And my God, I haven't been this angry at a WCW show
since the Paul Paula days.
Oh, I mean, yeah. But this is different. That like the DX thing, it's like, oh well, it's internal, so they're gonna get booed because they work for the company. Whereas like these guys come into WCW, it gives WCW a shot in the arm, and then they're over, as opposed to being like heels that like turned. They come in as heels, but that makes them cool because they're like rebels or whatever. So like it's one of the reasons that DX ultimately works better in the long run. But back to the King Larry Zbyszko.
Zbyszko keeps up the attack with right hands, only for the ref to admonish him, allowing Scott to nail a clothesline. But Larry's right back up with more right hands that causes the ref to step in once more.
You can't beat a motherfucker's ass in WCW?
Nope.
Not with a closed fist.
Yeah, well, he asked for it.
Zbyszko charges in with a spin kick, only for Mickey J to be in the way, allowing Hall to fire out with another clothesline. But that means there's no ref to make it count.
Because there was a ref bump, and I'm sorry, guys.
Scott checks on Mickey while Larry begins to play possum, catching Hall in a guillotine choke as he goes for a cover, bringing Louie into the ring to attack and causing a disqualification. Post-match, Dusty enters the ring and dispatches Spicolli with bionic elbows, and Zbyszko's holding Scott, so Rhodes goes to hit him, only to nail Larry by accident.
Mm-hmm.
Or was it?
Ugh.
As Hall points at Dusty, who removes his shirt to reveal an NWO shirt underneath.
I'm gonna retch.
Rhodes drops elbow on Zbyszko while Scott and Louie celebrate, followed by Dusty looking in the camera, saying, "That's tradition. WCW, bite this."
Whew.
My
That's
gosh.
the dustiest Dusty finish we've had in a while.
You know what's crazy? Is that this was really fun until it absolutely wasn't. Because it was really fun, and then it becomes just kind of some of the grossest and stupidest shit we've seen. We get Larry sucks chants, those people are losers, and their mother doesn't love them. And Louie is absolutely buried, and Dusty gains nothing from this. Who cares? It just comes off as gross. How do you feel about it?
Dusty moving to the NWO makes absolutely no sense.
Absolutely
They
no.
try and make a story out of it somewhat.
There's
in
no
the next
story
few
to make.
weeks. Basically, like, he was being disrespected by being on the B shows because he was still on WCW Saturday night instead of Nitro. But it's just like,
Yep.
okay,
Yeah.
cool.
You're Dusty Rhodes. We love you dearly. You're not the greatest color commentator. You are not Bobby Heenan. You are not even Jesse Ventura. And I love him. I love Dusty dearly. And when he's good, but he's not always good.
No. But
On the mic.
with
It makes
Dusty,
sense.
All I need him to do is talk with a lisp,
Yep.
say baby,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah. Say some words incorrectly.
yeah, do some sort of rambling that makes absolutely no sense.
Yeah.
Man, what if they had sent Dusty Rhodes to the power plant and had him
Train
Train
people.
people.
Teach them how to wrestle, how to take a bump, how to cut a promo.
I wonder if that'd be successful at all.
I wonder if that would work out in the long run and like create a bunch of
Might even
People-
create like a third brand
yeah,
that they could build up over time.
yeah, and some of those people might even be so successful that they go on to
Main event, Starcade.
Think of the number of people that you could train for future Battle Bulls or World War IIIs.
Yeah.
Oh, the havoc that would ensue.
Yeah. I mean, they're still doomed with having guaranteed contracts and people having say over what they will and won't do, written into their contract. So, but my God, would it be helpful to get maybe somebody that even could do half of what DDP can do, because he's kind of the only guy that's the whole package at the moment.
Where did he train at?
He's just been around for fucking... He's 50 right
Power
now.
plant?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I do have some, the Dusty stuff is sad, but I got some even sadder news.
Uh-oh.
No more Spicolli?
This is the last time we will see Spicolli, as he would pass away the next month.
Oh, wow. Not to be crass, but it's been a while. What did he pass away of?
Basically a drug overdose.
Yeah. That's what I assumed.
He, suffocated in his sleep, or similar to, the Crash Holly situation where he
took too many
choked
pills
on his
and
own
fell
vomit
asleep.
while he was asleep, something.
Well, that's very sad. He was a man that... You can go back. I was high on Louie Spicolli. I'm getting choked up. And it's a bummer to see him gain a bigger paycheck and take it down with him.
Yeah. Yep. Cash that final paycheck in the sky.
So we go to our sixth match. Scott Norton, Buff Bagwell, and Konnan
With Vincent.
versus Ray Traylor and the Steiner brothers of Rick and Scott Steiner with Ted DiBiase.
And here the commentary team is just selling the hell out of Dusty's betrayal. And Tony asks for Mike Tenay to join the table because he's beside himself.
He's flummoxed.
And, spoiler alert, Tony Schiavone takes this a little too far and makes it all about him. And my God, does it get old. But let's see how this six-man tag match turns out.
So since the last time we saw the Steiners, they had lost the World Tag Team Championships back to the Outsiders. And they argue over who's going to start the match, making me think that they're still not seeing quite eye to eye.
No.
A little bit of tension, a little anger.
Rick finally gets Scott out of the ring so he can start it off with Buff, trading shoves, arm drags, and hammerlocks. And Rick mocks Bagwell after throwing him into a corner before catching Buff with a power slam and multiple Steiner lines, and also knocking the rest of the NWO off the apron.
Hey, but Buff started it. He mocked Rick first.
Rick and Ray make frequent tags, using corner splashes, slams, ripping at Bagwell's face, and an Oklahoma slam into a corner for a 2 count. Buff pokes Traylor's eyes to slow the momentum, tagging out to Orton, while K-Dog gets some shots in from the apron as well.
The dog.
Norton with back elbows, but Ray avoids a corner charge to hip toss Norton. He slides out of the ring to deliver right hands, followed by a clothesline to Bagwell on the floor. And Traylor makes his way back in to hit Konnan, but it's blocked and he knocks Ray backwards into Norton for a power slam and an elbow drop. K-Dog then tags in for strikes and chokes on the ropes. Buff with turnbuckle smashes and a drop kick for a near fall. But Norton and Traylor both hit clotheslines for a double KO, allowing Ray to tag out to Rick, who cleans house with backdrops and Steiner lines, until Vincent trips him up from the floor, so Konnan is able to DDT Rick. And Scott starts complaining to the ref on the floor, but he finally gets back to the apron, only on the same side as Traylor to hopefully sneak a tag, leading to Traylor and Scotty arguing, all while the NWO works over Rick on the floor and inside the ring. Rick then avoids a corner charge from Konnan, fires up with Steiner lines, and makes the crawl to the corner for the hot tag, with both Traylor and Scott tagging him at the same time. So both jump in the ring with Scott nailing Steiner lines and suplexes to Norton, knocking him out of the ring, while Ray works on K-Dog. And the ref finally gets Scott to get out of the ring, but he just ignores him to grab Konnan for more suplexes. Scott finally does get out of the ring so that Traylor can officially tag him, allowing Scott to deliver a Steiner screwdriver.
And Scott is fired up.
To K-Dog for the pin. And the win.
We don't see the screwdriver often.
Post-match, Scott and Buff have a pose-off, while Rick and Ray complain that Scotty's not a team player. But he just tells them to leave him alone and walks to the back, alone.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the Scott and Rick stuff in this match is the only thing that was done kind of well.
I mean, that's the only reason this match
Yeah,
happens.
but it's like, I get what they were doing, but it was too long.
Yeah.
And Tony starts crying, and I want to slap him because he's a baby.
Can't believe he did this.
But we saw a Steiner screwdriver, which is, like we said,
We don't get to see it very often.
because it's fucking nuts.
Shivani plugs Boston Brawl again with the same commercial. Before we get our 7th match, Kevin Nash with Hollywood Hogan and Eric Bischoff versus the Giant.
Giant versus Giant.
And the story behind this match was that after Nash failed to appear at Starrcade for their initial matchup,
And the last 3 months.
WCW officials forced Kevin to post a $1.5 million appearance bond, but made the stipulation that Giant could not touch him before sold out. So Nash used this to his advantage, antagonizing the big man several different ways, such as interfering in matches, throwing coffee in his face, etc. Also, the infighting within the NWO has gotten worse, as Savage would refuse to work a tag match with Nash. So Hogan attempted to play peacemaker, only to be shoved into Nash, who then stumbled into the Giant. But the big man remained firm and refused to attack, instead ripping the ring post out of the ground,
Ooh.
causing the ring to collapse.
Damn. Why did we not see this clip on the show?
Right?
Because their production team's dog shit.
Yeah.
Because they only know how to show the pay-per-view on TV,
Yeah,
not
yeah.
the TV on the pay-per-view.
Because they're pretty bad at this.
They really are.
This whole storytelling thing.
So our two big men get into each other's face and trade shoves. When the Giant takes control with a back suplex, an elbow drop, and squashing Kevin in a corner, followed by a boot choke. Nash rolls out to regroup, but returns to deliver knees, forearms, and clotheslines in a corner, only for a reverse whip to allow the big man to return the favor, followed by a big boot, more chokes, and heel tossing Kevin across the ring.
Pretty fun to see Kevin Nash take some bumps. Also, love is not the right word, but I find it hilarious that when the Giant does a big boot, they call it the big foot.
Nash reverses a whip and he leapfrogs the Giant, hitting a big boot and a clothesline that knocks the big man out of the ring.
But he lands on his feet.
Kevin then dives over the ropes with a slingshot plancha, only for the Giant to catch him and ram Nash ribs first into the ring post.
Toasted.
The big man rolls Kevin back in, but then Hollywood would nail him from behind with a chair, leading to the Giant not getting back into the ring until the count of 9. Nash hits several running straddles on the ropes, followed by elbows to the back of the head, but the big man shakes it off to hit a clothesline. Both men then go for big boots, which leads to a double KO, with Kevin crawling over to make a cover for a 2 count. Back to their feet, Nash throws strikes in a corner, only for the Giant to counter into a Manhattan drop, followed up with headbutts, right hands, clothesline, and a big boot. And the big man points at Hogan for a scoop slam on Kevin, but then Bischoff jumps on the apron to distract the Giant, while Hogan grabs the ref.
I heard you, and I feel you.
The big man choke slams Eric into the ring, with Nash grabbing a pitcher of coffee from the corner, which I guess Hollywood stole off the timekeeper's table and placed there. They don't really show it, and it wasn't there earlier in the match.
It makes no sense for them to have hot coffee.
Well, he threw coffee in his face.
Yeah.
You didn't know this.
I understand.
We didn't know this.
Yeah.
Until I said it.
But I'm like, why would there be a pot of hot coffee.
Exactly.
Because why would there not be?
Touche.
The things that you find under the ring sometimes.
I mean, I have my pick.
You got your kendo stick, you got your trash can, you got your stop sign, and you got your pot of coffee.
Don't get me started about wrestling in general on this wrestling podcast.
Nash picks up the pitcher, throws it into the Giant's face, and nails a low blow. Kevin then picks up the big man for a jackknife powerbomb.
Could you call it that?
Drops him right on his head.
It is disgusting. Just about kills Paul White.
With Nash making the cover for the pin and the win.
And if you have eyes like, well, a human, you'll notice that Kevin immediately is concerned and checks on Paul White before leaving the ring because he knows what just happened and how serious it could be.
Yeah, no one thought, oh, let's throw wet thing on guy to then let me pick him up where he could slip free from my grasp because he's wet.
Yeah, and doing a move like that on somebody as large as the Giant. I know Kevin Nash is big and strong, but it's just... Don't do this at home, kids.
Perhaps somebody has taken too many edibles or smoked too much of what was in said edibles that caused him to not make the previous show and now can't fucking think at all.
No matter what happened, I don't want to put it all on Kevin Nash, but he's also hasn't been working regularly either.
Getting a little complacent.
To come in there and you think you've been exercising, he was naturally gifted with being tall and lean.
Mm-hmm.
Post-match, the trainers come out to check on the Giant, staying in kayfabe by bandaging his scalded eyes.
Yes.
Yeah, because it was the fucking coffee and not the horrific botch.
While Kevin and Hogan help Bischoff to the back.
Yeah, and then we see the replay of Paul White as he, for real, lands on his head.
Mm-hmm. Tony then sends us to a commercial for Super Brawl 8. Where a man walks into a tattoo parlor with the lady behind the counter saying it's an original. When DDP sits down saying the man's gotta have it. The lady responding, like the WCW title. And the man shows off his tattoo, which is the Super Brawl logo and the belt.
Big goal.
Before a narrator says that everybody wants it, but only one man can have it. Order now.
It's kind of a funny little ad.
I like the concept of the ad, but the execution wasn't great.
No.
Very corny.
So we go to our 8th match. The Nature Boy, Ric Flair, versus Bret, Hitman, Hart. And our two competitors are back and forth with headlocks, shoulder blocks, and takedowns. When Bret gains the advantage and locks on a figure 4, forcing Flair to reach the ropes. And Nate rolls to the apron to regroup, only for Hitman to bring him back in the hard way, before returning to holds to wear down his opponent, which frustrates the Nature Boy, leading to the two men trading slaps and shoves that sends Flair rolling out to regroup.
Can't believe that they're doing this in Dayton, Ohio, in front of 5,000 people. It shows how much they care about Rick. They spent money on Bret, and it shows how much they're willing to use him to burn this in Dayton, Ohio. It is truly a travesty.
Nate returns with a knee to the gut, but a reversed whip sends the Nature Boy hard into a corner, bouncing out into a back body drop and a scoop slam, followed by Hart going back to holds. And a cheap shot by the dirtiest player in the game changes the momentum, nailing right hands and chops, only for Bret to counter it into a sleeper. But Flair escapes with a back suplex. And a mule kick low blow puts Nate in control, working over the Hitman with rolling knees, chin locks, chops, and chokes. But Hart begins to fire back with right hands, catching the Nature Boy telegraphing a back body drop with a swinging neckbreaker and a bulldog for a 2 count.
And guys, I know what I just said was harsh and true, but I love a wrestling match.
Mm-hmm.
And this resembles a wrestling match.
Bret starts focusing on the leg, and he tries to go for a ring post figure 4, but Flair is able to kick him into the guardrail to avoid. Nate then rams Hitman's head into the steel before rolling back in for an elbow drop that gets a near fall. And the Nature Boy starts working the leg as well, with several shin breakers, only for Hart to retaliate with an enziguri. Flair is right back up to attempt to apply a figure 4, which Bret cradles up Nate for multiple 2 counts. And the Hitman starts to argue with the ref, allowing the Nature Boy to chop block from behind and lock on the figure 4.
No, this time in the middle
of the ring.
Sorry, I got excited.
Hart gets the hold turned over, forcing Flair to release, but then climbs to the top, only for Bret to meet him there to press slam Nate down to the mat.
And it was a big old bump. It's the highest we've seen Ric Flair fly in a while.
Yeah.
Hitman has his whip reversed, sending sternum first into the turnbuckles, followed by the Nature Boy going for a back suplex. The Hart blocks and reverses into a side Russian leg sweep.
Perfect.
Now back to their feet, Flair with chops, which just angers Bret. So he drops his straps and dares Nate to chop him some more, which he does, only for Hitman to just absorb them before firing up with mounted punches. The Nature Boy tries to counter with an atomic drop, but it's blocked, allowing Hart to deliver a headbutt, a backbreaker, an elbow drop, and a second rope elbow drop for a near fall. Bret then takes Flair to the top for a superplex, followed by applying the sharpshooter for the submission and the win.
It's so crazy that, like, it was good. It was very good, but they're hot-shotting a dream match before that's even, like, a, like, overly used term. And Bret wins clean by submission in front of 5,000 people in Dayton, Ohio is such a disgusting and, like, stupid, pig-headed mistake. Even if Rick has been in the doldrums, which he has been for a while now, this is the moment to take him out of them and to make the acquisition of Bret Hart worth your money and worth your time and, like, truly add to the show. They did something similar to this with people that don't have names like Ric Flair and Bret Hart with the Cruiserweight Championship, and they've already started to devalue it. And here they're devaluing 2 of the greatest American wrestlers to do it of the modern era, and they have a good match. But to what end? Nobody gains anything out of this. Truly despicable, and I'm pretty grossed out. Sorry.
So we go to our 9th match. Macho Man, Randy Savage, with Miss Elizabeth, versus Lex Luger. And Michael Buffer makes our announcements. So let's get ready for our 3rd and final match of the triple main event.
Yeah. LOL, there's no such thing. You didn't treat the last 2 matches like they were main events. They were potential main events on shows like this that could have gotten spread out.
I mean, if you're gonna say it's a triple main event, why is Michael Buffer not making the announcements for all 3?
Incredibly good point.
And Savage does not look happy as he comes out, ordering Liz to move faster towards the ring as they're working their way. And this is because Flair and Hart took too much time.
Yeah. So, I mean, I have a note here where I realized that Macho had a ton of pyro. It was almost scary. I was afraid of a big white type of situation. But I noticed, I was like, wait, there's another match. And I took my cursor down in my Peacock in my browser and realized that there's 10 minutes left in the show. And I was like, all right, what can you pull off here? Did you even have a chance? Will you pull it off?
Probably not.
Tell us, Matt.
So the bell rings and Macho bails to the floor, wanting Lex to follow out and chase, which he does, only for Miss Elizabeth to hit him from behind, allowing Savage to drop Luger onto a guardrail.
And the announcers are so, like, beside themselves that Miss Elizabeth has started to be
more active.
But it's like it's been a month or 2.
They head back into the ring where Macho keeps at the attack with axe handles, clotheslines, and right hands for 2 counts. Savage continues with a back suplex, turnbuckle smashes, and a back elbow for a near fall, before kicking and choking Lex out to the apron. And Macho argues with the ref, allowing Liz to choke Luger with a bandana, followed by more chokes and strikes from Savage.
I wonder if that's where their love blossomed. He choked her, or she choked him in the ring, and he knew it was love.
Yeah, and he was like, I didn't know I was into this.
Lex gets a boot up to a charging Macho and begins to fire up when Elizabeth grabs his boot as he's running the ropes. And Luger turns to grab Liz, allowing Savage to nail a running knee to the back, sending Lex out to the floor, with Macho flying off the top with a double axe handle. And Miss Elizabeth slaps Luger, sending him stalking after her, with Savage attacking from behind once more, taking the fight into the crowd, only for Lex to send Macho into a railing and take control. And they make their way back to ringside, where Luger drops Savage on a guardrail and rams him into the ring post.
Posted.
Before making their way into the ring for running clotheslines.
3 of them.
When Scott Hall makes his way out with a chair as Lex delivers a power slam. And Hollywood Hogan comes out as well. But he stops Hall, advising him not to interfere. But Scott ignores him and climbs to the apron, where Luger rams Macho into Hall. And Savage bounces back towards Lex, who gets him up into the torture rack for the submission and the win. Post-match, Hogan jumps in the ring to attack Luger, followed by the rest of the NWO coming out as well to help the attack. When Sting would come to the rescue.
It's Sting!
Cleaning house with punches and kicks.
Single-handedly taking on, all 8 of the NWO.
Lex rejoins the fray to help out, putting Nash in the rack, while the Stinger brawls with Hollywood, followed by applying the Scorpion Deathlock. And Tony screaming that WCW has rebounded at the end of Sold Out, when the NWO helped the Hart to the back, as Sting and Luger stand tall in the ring, followed by good nights, credits, and another ad for Super Brawl.
Sting and Lex Luger stand tall in front of all 5,000 people.
Mm-hmm.
Conspiracy. WCW has always been just a giant conspiracy.
So I ask you gentlemen, what are your overall thoughts of Sold Out 1998?
A true B show in every way, much better than the first Sold Out, but just about anything would be better than the first Sold Out, titled WCW pay-per-view. No match really exceeded great television match, and the blatant disrespect or hand-waving of potential stars, not even counting Rick and Bret, because that is truly an abomination, what they chose to do with this golden goose that they had is, it's better than last year. Shane?
Yes, I will agree it's better than last year's. But unlike last week's Rumble, this show was not fun. It was a show. People were there, 5,482, whatever it was.
It felt like it existed because it had to. Because they booked it and they're like, oh shit, I guess we have to do this.
Yeah. I mean, this show in general, I'm not a fan of. It's not the worst show that we've seen, but it's nowhere near being a good show. It's just a show.
I think
like I said, they made matches. People were there. I wouldn't go out of my way to tell anybody to watch anything on this show because there's nothing stand out special other than, you get a little bit of the early attitude of Scott Steiner.
Yeah, Bret and Flair, I think, was good, but it was not handled correctly. And you can feel the blatant like shoulder shrug or eye roll from the back, just from the company as a whole, where it's like they don't care. You can feel that they don't care as you watch it, and It's bizarre.
When you have 3 main events,
There's no main events.
you have no main events.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean that in the nicest way possible.
Mm-hmm.
I think I like this show probably a smidge better than you guys.
I don't think it's...
Because I don't think there's anything that's outright terrible on this show.
But it's handled poorly.
And for WCW, that's a plus,
Mm-hmm.
That's a good
considering
point.
their last
That's a
few
good
shows.
point.
Yeah, it's better than our last couple. It's just not.
I mean, the last one's Starrcade,
Yeah.
World War III,
Mm-hmm.
Halloween Havoc. Whatever the one before that was probably better than all those 3. Because we
Shit all over them.
shit all over them.
But this is how they're choosing to start off the year. I talked about last week the Royal Rumble where I was like, hey, like, I don't think that this show is like must see, but I think that it's a decent preview into like what's coming.
Well, I mean, their problem was that they, instead of just deciding to build up to this show and have the Hogan Sting thing finalize on this show.
This is not the place too. There's only 5,000 people. Hogan only works X
there's
amount of
only
shows a year.
5,000 people because Hogan doesn't have a match.
Yeah, I mean, but they also it's a smaller venue.
It's a smaller venue.
That's
Yeah.
yeah.
But basically, since you've decided to move that match to Super Brawl, you now have basically a filler show.
You're spinning plates.
You're spinning plates to get to Super Brawl. And that's what most of this stuff is. I mean, I literally just realized DDP's not on this show.
No.
Your second
He got to talk about a tattoo.
Your second biggest face in the company
Not on the show.
is not on the show.
No.
And your third face is the one that's main eventing
The first or the second or the third?
Yeah.
I mean, as we said, Michael Buffer only comes out for one match. So
I mean,
that's
yeah.
the main event.
Honestly, DDP should have been on this show and had a positive outcome, or at least something that made him look strong even in a loss, instead of Rick and Bret. And Rick and Bret should have been teased or pushed forward, hopefully better than it had been in the past, and been moved to a bigger show like a Super Brawl.
I mean, we talked about the Bret Rick thing a few weeks ago. That when we talked on Thunder, it's like, why are we having this match now?
Yeah.
It makes no sense to have this match now.
You have a full year to do this.
Yeah, you build this match up over the course of an entire year because Bret and Rick should be
nowhere near each other.
They should be, if anything, they should be teaming up to take on the NWO.
Good.
Not fighting against each other.
Yeah.
It makes no sense.
No. It's like they should be they should be looking at a thing like the Mega Powers and then mapping a similar trajectory as far as like time taken, and like that's one of the greatest told stories in wrestling. And don't do the same exact thing, but look at that and be like, well, that's how they told the story. You can do that.
I'll even say the way they got into this match, with Bret saying best day is best.
That's
like
fine.
You could have still used that, not the way that they did it, but you could have used Flair finally just getting tired of Bret continuing to say this during all their promos together or whatever. Because you literally team them up, tag team, going against random NWO teams.
And Rick has nothing. There's no horseman.
There's no horseman, so he has no affiliation with anybody.
No.
So it's literally something that they could have just built over an entire year.
Yeah, leader of the Hart Foundation, leader of the Four Horsemen, both without a home, and create a bond and start running through tag teams. One of them starts to cheat. Bret doesn't like it, or maybe Bret starts to cheat, which is bizarre, and Rick gives him a hard time for it. Doesn't matter. You could make it work.
Exactly.
And it's so simple and obvious.
How easy this is to do 27 years later.
Not that easy, because I watch wrestling sometimes, and I'm still flabbergasted at storytelling from time to time.
Good. Where's the smart marks at? All right, fuck you.
I think it's time we smark it up. So what are some of the best moments of this show?
I think Scott Steiner did a great job of being overbearing and also being undervalued at the same time. And his reaction screwdriver, his him being upset by not getting the tag, him giving the ref a hard time, even the commentary, which wasn't great on this show, put over that Rick has been lashing out at refs and being fined every time, which money was an important part of wrestling not very long ago. In the 80s and in the 70s, that was a way to tell a story. Here, it seems it might just be because of time passing, but it's a different kind of storytelling. And the money thing doesn't seem as strong, but at least they were making him look like he was a man without a home and one that was frustrated by it, and he did a good job selling that.
I really like Jericho.
Yeah, it was fun.
More character.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, he's finding his way.
his little niche to at least be something.
Yeah,
Instead of just random generated
Sometimes,
wrestler
yeah.
number 72.
Sometimes it feels like he's grasping at straws, but at least he's reaching for something. But the match was great. I have no issues with him and Ray in a ring. The finish of that match, I think, was probably the best finish on the show because it was believable and scary because it was believable.
I mean, of course, Zbyszko as well. Zbyszko was great.
He was great, and that match, I think, was very good until it all fell apart.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which it's like, okay, well, yeah. A little after the halfway point, it turned to shit. But Zbyszko, he's never going to be the problem.
No.
Like, I want to say the Flair Hitman match just because the two of them are professionals that...
It was a good wrestling match.
It's good, but it just...
It was something about it was
unnecessary here.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be on the show this soon. I mean, Bret needs a match, yeah, but it doesn't have to be against Flair.
No.
You could have fed Raven to Bret.
Yeah, he could. Just about anybody that is moderately capable could have lost to Bret.
It's a typical thing when somebody from WWF comes over, they wrestle a bunch of people they've already wrestled. So I don't know if Kurt Hennig was unavailable, because the two of them always had a good history of matches in the past.
He could have just had a match with. It's like it is kind of thinner than I thought, but Bret could have
had Bret in there against Alex Wright.
Bret could have had a match with somebody like Dean Malenko, who they're never going to push to the top of the card, and it could have been a great match where they both shake each other's hands at the end, and that would have felt good.
But that's not a main event worthy match.
No, but it doesn't have to be. It can start before. It can be earlier on the card.
Yeah, I don't have many other.
Because Matt, there can only be one main event. It's a very weird.
Hartford just needs to announce them all. It's a nine card main event.
I'll say Dusty's.
That's
quote the Raven.
Oh,
get the flock out.
Yeah,
quote this Raven. Get the flock out.
They're talking about his turn. I was like, that was horrific and embarrassing.
I had to find at least something that was positive that hadn't been said yet. Yeah. But yeah, that's all I got is the Dusty line there.
How about most disappointing?
Everything else.
I think the
Dusty's turn.
The Dusty, as much as the misuse of two of the greatest is deplorable, the Dusty thing is disgusting in a different way because it says that you're stupid and we don't care because you're stupid, whereas the Bret and Rick thing doesn't do that. They're stupid for doing what they did, but the Dusty thing is no, you just think that we're dumb because this is so.
It was just done for shock value.
Hey, dummy! Here, watch this match. It's good now.
Yeah. It was gross shock tactics, and it wasn't shocking. And then it threw off Tony Schiavone, who I'm convinced was never good at this point in my life, to just cry the rest of the night and make it about himself. And not that there was much. Not that the show could have been great with him not crying, but it just kind of reminded you that you were hanging out in the puddle of a grocery store. It's kind of what the show feels like. Stepping in a puddle.
I mean, obviously the botched powerbomb.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate. I literally think if they just didn't have the coffee, it would have been fine.
Yeah.
But that one little thing.
And the coffee...
And at least
stupid.
And at least you can see that Kevin is concerned that he wasn't like...
Yeah.
Because there's some people that would just be like...
He's not a monster. I mean, I wouldn't have...
Powerbomb him and then throw coffee in his face.
Yeah, I would not have... If Kevin didn't check on him, I wouldn't hold it against him just because of the... it's like, oh, well, we're playing a character, but he knew that what he did, like what happened was fucked, and he was obviously concerned. So I also won't fault him for being out of character for a split second, because most people probably didn't notice that.
The main event.
I think that
didn't enjoy it.
No, but I think that they worked fast, and honestly, if they had more time, I don't think it would have been any better.
Well, no, that's the thing is, for me, I don't enjoy Macho Man anymore. Like, when he gets in the ring, it's not fun.
No, it's not fun.
Since he's fallen into the NWO, Randy Savage is no more. He's devalued. He's a beard that runs to the ring and runs around like Animal from the Muppets. But he's not Randy Savage that we know and love and grew up watching and wanting to watch more of and excited to see the next thing he does. And unfortunately...
Well, Randy Savage used to be a knife.
Lex has never been anyone that I've been just must see behind. Yeah, I don't enjoy the main event at all.
Yeah, I thought it was good considering the small amount of time they had, but it's a very good point.
From Liz's slap, she did a good slap.
Like, Randy used to be a knife, and now he's a sledgehammer, where it's like, oh, he used to be, like, cunning and smart and take advantage of moments, and now it just feels like a bowling ball just, like, crashing through stuff where, like, the nuance is gone, the milking moments is gone.
He's that vacuum attachment that nobody really knows what to do with anymore, that has, like, the little fuzzy stuff on the outside, but then it sucks things up.
Yeah, that one sucks.
Yeah.
I mean, it stinks. Because it doesn't suck properly.
How about best performer of the night?
I thought Chris Benoit did a good job. No, I'm kidding. Like, people did I loved what Larry
Steiner
did for half of it. I think Scott was great. And the thing with Rick and Bret is they both did a good job, but they did a good job considering that they were both told to fuck off, and they were both aware that they were told to fuck off, and they still had a good match anyway.
Hey, Bret, welcome to the company.
But they're like, hey, yeah, you guys right now, no heat, and you're going to tap out Ric Flair. And, like, they didn't phone it in, but they were in between, like, they went a step above phoning it in and still had the best match on the show. But that's not enough for these two guys because they're fucking Bret Hart and Ric Flair.
Yeah. I mean, I must go with Jericho because that was what I enjoyed the most.
Yeah.
And how about most surprising? I mean, the surprise for me is that Flair tapped out.
Yeah, I couldn't believe that. I figured we'd get a fuck finish of some kind, and we didn't. He tapped clear in the middle of the ring.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which is crazy. Couldn't believe it. I mean, that has to be the most surprising, right?
Surprise.
It can't be that it's the last time we saw Louie Spicolli. Because we could feel that coming on.
Yeah.
Rick Martel had a title match.
And I liked that match.
Yeah, it was fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I thought it was good. It reminded me of things that I like about a wrestling match.
I guess in general, I don't remember. This is around the time where I didn't watch a lot of WCW, so I totally forgot or didn't even remember the Dusty Turn.
Oh, I knew it was coming.
Yeah.
And always remembered that it was the dumbest thing.
Yeah, it's truly brain dead, but a lot of the stuff on the show is kind of brain dead. They're like, oh yeah, we'll just do that. And it's like, you didn't, like, it's like, even if you want to go there, you can't just be like, yeah, we'll just do it. And it's like, no. Stories have a beginning and a middle and an end. The second act is longer than the first or third act, typically. Have you never watched a movie? Like, what are we doing?
Making their way to the ring.
It's trivia time.
Woo!
This week, the category is music of the mat.
It's my music.
Break it down.
So I'm going to play a song.
Muzzy.
You can tell me who the wrestler is that this music represents. You will get 3 points.
Let's do this.
Let's hear it.
Here we go.
Oh my gosh. Fuck.
Mm-hmm.
I feel so stupid.
Shane.
Is it Jericho?
It is not Jericho.
Okay.
Is it Lex Luger? It's not.
It is Lex Luger.
All right.
Yes. Because I was like, no, it's not. Because I was like, for some reason, it was sounding ECW at first. And then I was like, wait, no, it's not ECW. Ooh.
So 3 points for Michael.
Damn.
Woo, to get on the board.
I know. I slow-goed it in that question and in this new era of trivia, but
Slow going it was the way that you won it the first time around.
it wasn't a confident win tonight, but I'll take it with pride.
Next week, No Way Out of Texas in your house.
That's a whole lot of title.
Yeah, this is a wild one.
Music from this week's show is Runaway by Alex Williams and Georgia Shapiro. And Lex Luger won our main event.
Is that the song that we get to listen to?
So we'll play the same song we just listened to, Slammer by Derek Todd Sorensen. It was random. I just thought it was funny. If you like this episode or any of our other ones, you can go out there, rate and review us on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you find your podcast at. Do as Michael says.
5 stars or no stars. We watched a fucking gentleman's 3-star show tonight.
At best.
At best. I said gentlemen.
And if you have any questions, comments, concerns,
Ooh, people, we're going to Texas. So, I mean, I know they're right nearby us, but I could still use your suggestions. I've been to the Houston airport. That's really the extent of my Houston experience, other than hopping into a shuttle bus and then driving down to Galveston to get on a cruise ship. So I need some ideas. What the hell do people eat or drink, or what's from Houston other than the Texans?
Paul Wall.
Oh yeah?
I don't know, that's just
You
a
want me to
background.
bring grills for everybody, or
Yeah.
he had grills, right?
Yep.
Okay. Making sure I'm keeping up.
He was the grill guy.
I think you'd
I'm
be
with
okay
it.
if you mentioned if any of them had
I'm
grills
hip.
at this point.
Yeah, but Paul Wall was known for that. I believe he either
Didn't he
made
do,
them
one
or
for
owned
Brooke
a
Hogan?
jewelry store. I mean, who knows? It was a while ago.
But yeah, I need some ideas. So send me some Texas suggestions, food, beverage, other.
And you can email any of those ideas to WrestlingHistoryX@gmail.com or find us on X at WrestlingHistoX. That's WrestlingHistoX. We'll talk to you next week.
Later.